The following is an excerpt from a conversation I had with my son April 12th, 2020. This is a segment of a much longer conversation. Here it is.
Can't wait for you to watch those Zeitgeist movies. I think we should have a podcast on after you watch one.
I was
We'll
actually
we'll
thinking of
we'll
doing that.
discuss it.
I'm This is my plan. Because when I first watched it, I think I watched it because you asked me to. And I remember
Years ago, right?
hating it. Yeah, it was like when it first came out, 2007, I think. Um, and but I had so much to say about it, but I didn't have any way of doing anything about it. So this is what I was thinking is I would actually podcast, like I would watch it for a while, and when there was something I came across, I'm like, I have something to say about that. Say it. And then I could have a
Yeah,
podcast that's called What's Wrong with Zeitgeist. And then you and
and
I could
what's
talk
right
about it also.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, the
anyway,
thing I like about that documentary series, because I mean there is conspiracy theories in that for sure. And what I do like about it is how it breaks down the financial system. And I think at the core of what is wrong with the world today, basically, is the financial system that we've created, and it's not sustainable. I think that's the main point of those Zeitgeist movies is that the system we have in place is not sustainable.
talking about the
That it is
U.S.
a profit
monetary
driven.
system or the world.
Well, I mean, you can the world monetary system now, right? I mean, the world basically follows the U.S. monetary system. The dollar is basically the standard for which all other monetary systems are based. So
But
you could
if
say,
it did become the yen or something, would that still be a problem as far as you're
well, it's
concerned?
no, but it's yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing now.
Well, what's
But
the
the central
problem?
banking system,
As
the
you see
central
it, what's the
banking
problem?
system, the problem I see is that we have we have gone away from the exchange of goods and services in exchange for money, and now money makes money in and of itself. So we've basically converted our financial system into a system in and of itself, basically Wall Street.
You talking about investing stocks and stuff like that, or interest?
Yeah, interest, debt, credit, all of those things.
You
Um,
think that should go away?
it's not sustainable.
What do you mean?
I think, well, I think it's pretty clear that the amount of money and the amount of debt doesn't make sense. Meaning, if all the debt in the world was suddenly paid back tomorrow, there would be $0 in the world. And
Well,
on
there
top
wouldn't
of
be
that,
$0 in the world because
because
those people who were owed money now have it.
but
Like
every
all the
dollar is
people that
owed
owed
to
me money
somebody.
would now be in my possession, right? So they'd have money. So there
Right,
wouldn't
right,
be zero
right.
dollars.
So who would have all the money? Who would have all the money? The banks, right? The central bank. Because
Are
the
they the
central
only
bank,
ones
the
who
Federal
are owed
Reserve,
money?
everybody is owed money somewhere. Every dollar is owed somewhere.
I know, no, I know, but like you said, it would all be in the banks. But is the I don't think the banks are the only people, the only entities that are owed money. Maybe they are.
Well, think about it. Where does all the money come from?
Hmm.
So the idea behind that is, and the clever thing that the banks did was that they created a thing called interest. So now, not only is the debt, not only is the money in circulation, not even everything would be going back. So debt and money are equal, but then you add on top of that the idea of interest, And now there isn't even enough money in the world to pay back all the interest. So where is the money coming from?
The government keeps making more.
And I don't think anybody ever thinks about that. Yeah, right. They keep making more, right?
Yeah.
As if the money actually has value. What value does it have? We just agreed upon its value. It doesn't
Yeah,
really have any
that is
value
it.
in and of itself. The value is what we give it.
Right. It's a representation of value.
Right.
Yeah. Symbolic
So
representation.
that's not sustainable. And I don't think it's hard to see that that's not sustainable.
I'm having a hard time seeing how that's not sustainable.
And
the reason I say that is because money has been used for thousands of years. You know, before that it was
right.
shells, you know, that
Right.
represented
And it
value.
was based on something.
Well,
And like
shells aren't really that
before the central
valuable.
banks,
You know what I mean? Shells aren't.
well, gold isn't that valuable, but we give it value.
Gold is
It's
really
rare,
useful.
right?
It conducts electricity beautifully. As a
Right.
matter of fact, just today, Klassy was, you know, using a pair of my headphones, and she goes, "Man, these sound so good." And I go, "Well, it has gold in it. You know, it uses a gold as a conductor rather than, you know, some other kind of conductor. And gold is a really excellent conductor,
Right.
and it's beautiful, and it doesn't corrode.
Oh, I
These are all
know.
valuable things.
Don't get me wrong. We've been obsessed with gold for basically
Yeah, but
since we
even before
discovered
that,
it.
shells.
um,
Shells were a form of money, right? And they're not really valuable, but they
mhm,
represent value. That's the whole purpose of money, is to represent something. Because
right.
it's too clunky to carry around a couple of live chickens because you want to go down to the store and buy a pack of cigarettes, right? So
Right. Right.
it's just easier to carry around. It's a representation that's easier to carry around. So
Right.
what would you replace it with? If it's not sustainable, what would you want to replace money with?
Resources.
What does that mean?
A resource-based
Like
economy.
chickens?
I guess what we need to survive. And I think that's where, the monetary system was born out of. Was this person had timber, this other person had chickens. I'm going to trade you two uh,
For sure. Barter system.
two trees, barter systems, that
And
kind of thing.
every culture went to money because it's a lot more convenient to carry
It
around
is. It is more convenient. It is more convenient.
and more
Absolutely.
flexible. So what would you replace it with? Resources. What does that mean?
Um,
Units of resources, right? You need some representation of units of resources. So essentially money.
right. I don't know what we'd replace
Mic
it with.
drop. No, I'm just kidding.
No, well,
Just
but it kind of tells you that it tells you that money is a perceived value.
for sure. And it could easily become
And we
worth
used to
nothing.
have a gold backed dollar, right? And
Yeah.
it was and then you kind of go, okay, well, who determines the value of gold, right? So then if you only have X amount of dollars compared to gold, then X amount of dollars is worth this much because you could actually take in your money and get that amount in gold.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, then who determines? And then if you have resources, who's going to determine the value of a cord of wood as opposed to 100 chickens?
Yeah. Whoever has the
Who's going to
chickens
determine that?
determines it. What are they willing to sell a chicken for, right?
So is that how the dollar value is? The central bank gives it the value of the dollar?
I think like if you have, let's say you have a motorcycle or a scooter, you do have a scooter,
I
and
do have a scooter.
you wanted to sell it. The value of that scooter would be whatever you're willing to sell it for, right? Somebody comes
Mm-hmm.
up and offers you $10, you're not going to take it. You're like, no, the scooter's worth more than that to me. I'd rather have the scooter than your $10.
Right.
Right?
Someone gave me 100 chickens, however, I might think about it.
Yeah.
The consumption is a big problem too, and the um, implied factors of a profit-based monetary system. It requires obsolescence, and I think that's the
It
main
doesn't require
key
it,
there.
I don't think. I mean, I would
Promotes
pay
it. How
more,
about
and
we'll say that?
I do pay more for something that's going to last longer if it's something that I want to keep for a
Okay.
long time. But I know that there are companies that make things as cheaply as possible because that is definitely a factor that people consider when they're going to buy something is how expensive it is. And if they don't think it's going to last very long, or they don't even plan on using it that long, or they just don't want to think about it, they'll go for the cheaper one, which might have a built-in obsolescence. It might not. You know, I mean, most metal forks last pretty much a lifetime. you know, uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But there's, I mean, I'm sure, especially with electronic stuff, you know, even if, and I still do, by the way, I still have a cassette player that plays cassettes.
Wow.
And
Wow.
right, right. And, but when you buy a piece of technology like that, you have to assume that in 10 years, it's probably, you're not going to want it anymore. You don't even care if it breaks at this point, you know?
Right. Right.
And the faster something changes, like iPods, or do they even make iPods anymore? I don't even know.
Yeah, they do,
I'm
I think.
I remember it was the newest, coolest technology when it came out, um, but even that seems kind of old fashioned now. You know, um,
They look like the iPhone though. They have a touch screen and they're basically an iPhone without a like a SIM card place.
hmm.
Like you could basically take a phone, take out a SIM card, and that's your iPod now. Or you can get apps and
Or you can just get a
listen to your
phone,
music and stuff like that.
or you can just
Or you can just
put
get
the
a
music
phone
on your
for
phone
like
since you already have
$50
one.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, like I said, that is an excerpt from a longer conversation between Ben Wagner and myself, Adam Lee Kahn. We had that conversation on April 12th, 2020. You can look it up and watch and listen to the longer one if you'd like. This is Adam Lee Kahn on The Atom Bomb.